Hello YouTubers, I want to welcome you to another edition of Bargain Bin Gear. And as you know or may not know, I'm a guitarist who uses a looping pedal to record tracks. Right? And it's all improvised on the spot. Okay? So in other words, it's not worked out ahead of time. Right? So however I have things set before I record, right, that's what you're going to get recording wise. Now, originally it was just two tracks, right, into basically two microphones, one on a guitar amp on the left and one on a guitar amp on the right. And those microphones would go into this, right, the Motu Audio Express, which is basically an audio interface that then goes into the PC to two-track software where I can use plugins, do fade-ins and those kinds of things, and bring up the level, including mastering the track. Okay, and I've been quite pleased with this setup. Okay, so I was pretty happy with that setup. Basically, two mics into the Motu Audio Express into the PC. And that would go into two-track software, which is what I prefer for mastering and things. So it's a real quick way of doing it. Now, later on I introduced, basically in my setup, a bass amp. Right? And it's mic'd as well. So this caused me a problem in that the Audio Express only has two mic preamps. Right? So I needed a way to bring in that third microphone for the bass amp. Right? And the way I've done it now is basically taking a audio mixer, right, and plug the microphone from the bass amp into the mixer, and then the mixer to the line in of the Audio Express. And therefore you've got then three channels. Okay, and luckily there's a software mixer with Audio Express as well. So I was able to mix it a little bit. Now, from that, that was fine for my two-channel software, right? Where basically it just takes the three channels, mixes them together, and brings it into the software. Now, however, I didn't have any way to mix them after the fact. Once they're recorded, that was it. That's all I could do. So I tried a DAW, and it was like Sonar or something like that, where basically each track was a separate, or each microphone was a separate track. And after it was recorded, I could move them on there. Surprisingly, it didn't sound as good. And that may just be me not familiar enough with the DAW software. I'm not sure. But yeah, it didn't sound as good. And seemed like a needless step, really. Just didn't work for me. I'm not sure why that is. Whereas in the 2-track software, man, it just sounds great, you know. And in fact, that's how I had been doing it for a long time. Oops. A couple chords. So I can loop that. And then come with a bass line. This way. So I can overdub that. Add a guitar track or what have you. Ooh, gotta turn off my bass. And so you may ask yourself, well, how do you know when a recording's done, when to stop it? And really, it comes down to, if you just don't really have any new ideas for it, really, or you make a mistake, you know, a wrong note or something like that. So let's hear the mastered track is right here. I've redone this video many times and learned some things just from talking about it, popping up with different ideas and things. And this is where we introduce the Tascam Model 12. Now the Tascam Model 12 is a mixer, a digital mixer, right, with 10 channels, and it can also record, right, the 10 channels onto a little SD card, and we're not done yet, can also replace one of these, audio interface, right? So we can do all that at once. Now here it is. Here's the advantage of that. One, I could record into it, right? And because it stores the recording as a multi-track recorder on that little SD card, after I play, I can listen back and set the levels of the bass and guitar. Right? And besides that, I can add compression and also EQ, right? To get a better balance of that. Now, without the Model 12, another way I could do it is to use my old VS890 recorder, right? And basically would run the bass mixer into the VS890 as well as the guitar channels and record that way, and then be able to play it back and set the levels before I go into the audio interface. Seems kind of complicated, and basically the Model 12 would solve all that, right? Because it would be very simple in one unit. So it wouldn't have cables and, you know, little mixers everywhere. And I've been thinking about doing it that way. And I wonder if it would really help me. There's another, by the way, if I did get the Model 12, I could use, instead of 2 guitar amps, right, I could use 4 guitar amps. And you may ask yourself, my God, what are you going to do with 4 guitar amps? Do you need to be that loud? No, it's not about that at all. It's the fact that I play in stereo, right, and I run 2 amps in stereo, and then I could mix it with 2 different amps in stereo, So that'd be something to experiment with, you know. And I have these ABY boxes so that the signal, guitar signal, goes into 2 amps, right? So I have them for each side. So for example, I could use a little Fender X2 and then use a deluxe reverb, you know, at the same time, and that would record the guitar signal. So that'd be very interesting to try too, if I had the Model 12. Because presently, I can't do that with this, you know. It's almost like I've almost outgrown it, you know. Now, here's the thing. Doing it that way is going to slow me down a little bit, because here I go direct right into the software, right? So it's recording it at the same time. I believe that with the Model 12, because you have the DAW controller, right? That because it doubles as an audio interface, that the Model 12 can do this as well. So it would basically give me a lot more control over the bass and guitar balance, a better mix, if you like, you know. So I've been considering it. However, the Model 12 is $600. Oh my. And it would replace my favorite Motu Audio Express interface, you know, which I'm a real fan of because I really like the sound of it. The Tascam Model 12, I don't know. Would the sound be as good? Would it be better? Don't know. Now, luckily, Sounds, for example, has a easy pay. And it's like $49, but for 12 payments of $49. Monthly payments, so that'd be a year you'd be paying on that thing. You know. On the other hand, that would free up a lot of equipment that I could sell because I'm no longer using it. So maybe that would help pay for it. The other thing is I don't know what the results would be. You know, I'd be very excited to try multiple amps to get different guitar sounds. Would be really neat. I also love the idea that after I record, right, I can play it back and edit the volume of the bass sound compared to the guitars, and also kind of sculpt the sounds using the EQ, right, on the Tascam 12, right, and still be able to run it into my computer, you know, using the audio interface part of it. So it really is kind of like a Swiss Army knife of recording, and may result in better recordings, better sounding recordings for me, just because I'd have control of that level. You know, sometimes you record the bass, you know, and there's not enough bass, or there's too much bass. There's not much you can do about it. Once it's recorded, it's recorded. So this is where the Model 12 would step in. I don't know. The more I talk about it, the more I want one. You know, I don't know. Something to consider. And I certainly don't like the idea of using a line in here for the bass microphone. It's kind of silly. Now, alternatively, you could use two of these, which I do have, the Audio Express, and you can use both together at once. So I'd have enough microphone inputs for guitar and the bass. However, right now I'm running this as a USB interface. And to be able to use two at a time, you have to switch over to Firewire. And Firewire is a pain in the butt, because whoever designed the Firewire jack, right, it's very hard to tell which way is up. And if you plug it the wrong way, you fry the Firewire jack. You know, and it's kind of like those old cameras used to be like that. So anyway, USB can't handle two of the Motus running together. You have to use Firewire. So that would be one other solution I could try. You know, I don't know. I'm on the fence about this. I have a friend who tells me, oh, you should get it, the Model 12, but something I'm considering, you know. Though I have to say that for whatever reason, the way I'm setting it up now seems to work okay. You know, setting the levels ahead of time and basically running two mics into the Audio Express, one mic into a mixer, and then into the Audio Express for the bass. So that'd be the way I'm doing it now. Okay, so anyway, this is something trying to improve my recordings and my approach to recording, I guess. You know, and I certainly like the idea of being able to control after the fact, and then from the DAW you could run it into the 2-track software to do the mastering things, or keep it in the DAW software and master it there. Alright, so these are things I've been contemplating. Right? And it's quite something to figure out here. Alright, well, only time will tell. And actually I have one on the way. And the Tascam Model 12 is very interesting because it's basically a standalone mixer. Okay, digital mixer. A standalone multi-track recorder onto SD cards. It's also an audio interface into your computer. And also has DAW control and those kinds of things. So, this is another way of recording that might be great, might not be. I don't know yet. You know, luckily I have 45 days, I guess, to try it. You know, and if it doesn't work out, I can return it. It just depends. And the idea with a Model 12 is that you plug it into the mixer, and then you can record right onto that SD card, right, is the idea. And then transfer the SD card into the PC. Right? That's one way of doing it. And that may be the way to go. I'm not sure yet. I personally, for right now, because that's all I've used, I like the Audio Express and the mixer. Seems to work really well. Great way to record live, you know. And granted, you have to set the levels before you record, but once it's set, you know, then there's no problems. And then fine-tune it in the software. And I've gotten great results out of that. So I guess we will see if the Tascam Model 12 yields better results or not. Depends. You know, I'm going to try it, and I will let you know. You know, now besides recording and playing, I've tried out a bunch of different things, which we'll go into later. In any case, so basically there are my two options, right? One is to continue using my Motu Audio Express and use a mixer into the line ends, right, which gives me additional mic preamps, which I need for the bass amp. Now here's the other thing that could be very interesting, is I could start using 4 amps instead of 2 when recording. And with the Motu Audio Express, right, I have the 2 microphones going into it for the first 2 guitar amps, and then the other 2 guitar amps would be in the mixer going into the line ends, and then would be mixed together to create the guitar track of the recording. Now with the Tascam Model 12, it's a lot simpler than that, because basically you just plug into the mixer and record, and that's it. So you could record 4 guitar amps, right? Both in stereo, so 2 stereo pairs. So it's basically the Tascam Model 12 alleviates a lot of the equipment. It replaces a lot of the equipment. It would replace the audio interface, it would replace the mixer, and replace the PC as far as the recording goes. So that's kind of interesting, you know, and simplicity usually wins, so we will see. Okay. Now another thing I could do is to purchase a bigger Motu audio interface. I could do that. Or some other manufacturer's interface. Though if I did, I would very much want it to have control software or mixing software in the PC. Like the Motu has Q-Mix, which looks like a mixer, unless you control it from the computer. So anyway, these are my options, and I guess the Tascam Model 12 is on its way, and we will test it out and see how it compares to the Motu and which I prefer for recording. So until then, I'll see you next time. Okay, bye.